Ideal work stamped concrete. Concrete as you've never seen it before. The groundwork for ideal work stamped concrete and all concrete flatwork should be graded and well compacted. Vapor retarders should be used in accordance with your local building regulations. Vapor retarders will slow down the moisture vapor transmission rates, the MVTR, that transfers through the concrete. Isolation is also a key factor when installing concrete flatwork. Walls, columns and any other fixed features should be isolated with a minimum of 4 mm isolation foam. Steel reinforcement should be used to the correct building specifications when given by the client. Once the concrete is placed, the steel should be lifted to the center of the slab. The concrete mix requires polypropylene fibers that reduce the amount of bleed water and reduce shrinkage in the early set stages of the concrete. Ideal work can supply the correct fibers if your concrete supplier does not have them. They can be added into the back of the concrete mixer. Make sure they're well mixed with the concrete. The placement of the concrete and the correct slump is important to a successful project. 80 to 120 millimeters is the average slump we would recommend. 20 or 10 millimeters is the aggregate size with a good gap grading from the largest to smallest sand. Minimum cement contents of 320 kilogram per cubic meter. Once the concrete is placed and the excess bleed water has evaporated, you should float the surface with a wood or magnesium float to prepare the surface for ideal work color hardener. The ideal work color hardener should be broadcast across the surface of the concrete by hand. Allow a few minutes for the color hardener to wet out on the concrete surface before you float it in with a wooden or magnesium bull float. Then the second application of ideal work color hardener can be applied, especially to areas missed in the first application. Remember, ideal work color hardener should be applied at a rate of 3 to 5 kilograms per square meter, 3 kilograms for light traffic and 5 kilograms for industrial traffic. Again, you should float this into the concrete with the wooden or magnesium bull float in a preparation for the smoothing of the surface. When you have even coverage and all the color hardener is worked, you should use a steel trowel and a steel Fresno to finish and smooth out the surface. When the concrete is hard enough to take the weight of a person, you should apply ideal work release agent, powder or liquid release. Ideal work release powder has two independent roles in the imprinting process. First, it's a bond breaker to stop the stamping tool sticking to the concrete surface. Secondly, the release powder is colored so it will add the secondary antique color to the finished look. Stamping or imprinting is the most interesting part of the whole process. We recommend that you have a minimum of 8 rigid imprinting tools and 2 flexible imprinting tools. Ideal work stamping tools are available in many different shapes, textures and designs. Positioning the first 2 imprinting tools is very important and should be predetermined and measured before you place the concrete. You should place and interlock the first row of imprinting tools with at least 2 more tools locked into the second row. This will ensure that your imprinting tools are in line with each other and you're going to keep a uniform pattern. The flexible imprinting tools are for areas where the rigid tools will not fit, like up against a wall or around steps. Using an ideal work stamper, you can start lightly impacting the imprinting tools into the concrete surface. As the concrete gets harder, you will have to use more pressure to have the same depth of pattern and texture. Pick up and move the imprinting tools forward one at a time and continue until the entire surface has been evenly imprinted. During the warmer weather, the release powder can be washed off after 24 to 48 hours. In colder weather, you should wait for at least 3 days prior to washing and cleaning the concrete. When washing off the release powder, you should use a pressure washer or jet wash and a mono brush or swing buffer. You should clean the surface until the water runs clear and the concrete is clean and free of dirt and dust. All concrete flatwork needs to have control or isolation joints which need to be placed within 24 hours of the concrete being poured. This should be done with a high-speed concrete saw with a diamond blade. The joints should be cut to a minimum depth of 1/3 the thickness of the concrete slab. For any special features, detailed work or borders, you can use Ideal Work acid stains to add colourful highlights to the hardened surface. Ideal Work acid stains need to be washed off once the desired colour has been achieved. Use the same process as washing off the release powder. The final step and finishing touch is the application of Ideal Work acrylic sealer. This sealer was designed to penetrate deep into the concrete and protect the surface from staining. Ideal Work acrylic sealers are UV stable and they enhance the colour of the finished project. When the concrete surface is completely dry and free of moisture, you can apply the Ideal Work acrylic sealer. This should be applied with an airless sprayer where possible, and a paint roller and brush in places you cannot use the sprayer. 2 coats may be needed depending on the porosity of the concrete. There you have it. The perfect hardscapes produced with Ideal Work systems.